Hi, I'm Tim Mahoney, Director of Debate at the St. Mark's School of Texas. Today we are going to talk about kicking out of arguments. Part 1, ICE. The acronym we are going to use to remember how to do this is ICE. I-C-E. Identify, concede, explain. We want to clearly identify the position we are kicking and to state our intentions. The election's disadvantage. We are kicking it. C. We then want to concede a specific argument or arguments. E. Finally, we want to explain why this argument or other arguments that we've conceded take out our opponent's offense. Part 2, tips. Be efficient, but super clear. I've seen several debates where teams try to very, very quickly kick out of arguments, but they did so in such a way that the judge wasn't understanding the arguments that had been conceded. So when the opponent stood up and said, we had offense here that they didn't effectively deal with, the judge had no choice but to vote for their opponents because those were the arguments that were understood. Make sure your explanation includes a statement like, this takes out any offense they had on this argument. Theoretically, you don't have to kick an argument if your opponents don't have offense on it, but it's better to just get in the habit of doing so. If you don't, your opponents might take an argument that sounded like defense and turn it into offense. The best arguments to concede are usually impact or internal link defense arguments. Uniqueness isn't usually a helpful argument to concede and often helps your opponents. Sometimes a no link argument can be conceded to kick out of a disadvantage, but you have to make sure the arguments aren't, you don't have a link, but that doesn't mean we don't have link turns. If the link turns are distinct from the links, then conceding no link arguments will hurt you more than help you. There will be times when your opponents have straight turned an argument and you won't be able to kick it without spending a significant amount of time there, which might mean it makes more strategic sense to just go for the argument. Part 3, kicking counterplans and critiques. If the argument is conditional, you can usually just say, this argument was conditional and we are kicking it. You may need to answer theoretical objections or add-ons. Other than conditionality bad, which you definitely need to answer, you should be able to dispose of other theory arguments by saying something like, the state's counterplan, we are kicking it. It was conditional, and even if it wasn't, they made theoretical objections to the counterplan, which are really arguments that mean you should reject the counterplan, not the team. They don't have any other offense on this counterplan. Part 4, more examples. Since I just did an example of how to kick out of a counterplan, let's go ahead and do a couple of quick examples of kicking out of DAs or advantages. Almost all of these arguments are defensive, and you can concede any of them except the last argument, which is offense. To deal with their offense, you want to concede the 5th argument, which directly answers their offense. Remember, ICE.
Ice, ice, baby, too cold, you sing it! Too cold, louder! Too cold, you sing it! Too cold.
Okay, here we go. The election's disadvantage. We aren't going for it. We will concede to a C5, no impact. Trump will be too politically weak. That takes out their only offense on the DA. The third example we will do is the cartel's advantage. Again, their only offense is the last argument, so we are going to concede arguments that deal with that. The cartel's advantage, we are kicking it. We will concede 1 and C, 1 and 2. Cartels are diversifying and they won't escalate violence. The only scenario for terrorist escalation are the cartels, so these two arguments take out their only offense. Debates have been decided when teams kicked out of arguments too quickly and in an unclear manner. So when their opponents went for offense, the judge couldn't articulate what had been conceded and had to defer to the explanations they understood. Don't let this happen to you. It took me less than 10 seconds to kick out of the arguments above in a very clear way, ensuring they wouldn't come back to haunt me. So remember tip 1, be efficient, but super clear. I hope ICE will help you achieve the goal of being able to kick out of arguments clearly and efficiently. Thank you.